Hey everyone, my name is Kushal and this is Nimisha.
Hey, thank you for joining in, folks. This is Let's Take This Offline podcast. So we're gonna give you a bunch of intros and talk about why you're listening to this podcast and what you're gonna get out of this.
That looks like you started a product management meeting.
I really did,
Yeah,
coming out of a very busy day.
nice. So Nimisha, what do you do?
Yeah, so I am Nimisha Sharat. I live in Seattle. I am a product manager at Uber. Yeah, do you want me to talk about all the different companies I've worked in, or do you want to start with an intro, Kushal?
I think you can just go ahead and
Okay.
then yeah.
Yeah, so to everyone listening in, yeah, I'm a PM right now, but actually, my background is in computer science and engineering. I got my degree in computer science back in India and worked for a year as an engineer, and then came here. Got my master's degree in, I guess you could call it data science, not
It is a master's degree in
all
data science,
right,
right?
so it's a master's degree in data science. I worked as a data scientist at Microsoft for a couple of years, and then pivoted to being a product manager. And then I moved to Instacart. If any of you have ordered groceries from there, worked there for a while, and now I am a product manager on the road safety side on Uber. So we work towards preventing accidents on the platform.
Nice. So brief intro about myself. So my name is Kushal and I grew up in India, did my undergrad in computer science. I should like start with what I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah, probably. It's
Yeah,
okay though.
that's fine. That's what they teach you when they ask you to tell
Yeah,
about
yeah,
yourself.
this is an unfiltered podcast,
Right.
so it's going to be really chill.
Right. So I'll just like continue with my story. So yeah, I did my undergrad in computer science in India, then came to US to do my masters at University of Washington as well. Did my masters in information management, specialized in data science. I can say so-called masters in data science. Started my career working at a ride-sharing company called Grab. They have a Seattle office. It's a Southeast Asian company. Started my career as a software engineer, then later transitioned to a product manager, and then I'm currently working at SoFi. It's a fintech company based out of US. So working as a product manager in the lending team, more specifically in the loans platform team.
Wow, I think between the two of us, we have so many industries covered. I've done ads and groceries and now transportation.
Nice.
And you have done,
Yeah, started with transportation. Then later in my career at Grab, I went to personalization, like food and personalization ranking, and this is fintech.
yeah,
Yeah,
very cool. So I guess we're going to be talking about a ton of this stuff and also other parts of the tech world, which I'm really excited to do.
nice. So both of us like pivoted from a different career, and now we are product managers.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk about what made us want to be product managers. So Nimisha,
Yeah.
you transitioned as a PM at Microsoft. What were you doing, and then what made you transition?
Great question. So, to everyone who's listening, if you're a PM, I'm sure you would have had some sort of a journey like this. So, feel free to relate. So, when I was a data scientist at Microsoft, there was a specific scenario when I noticed that we were building things, but we didn't know why. We ended up doing a lot of amazing research related, throwing in some words here, GPT, transformers, natural language processing, all of that stuff. It seemed awesome, but we were building things that no one used. So I ended up just doing a bit of more of research around who are our customers, why are we building this, does it really make sense, and asked all of these questions. So that naturally led me to discover something called product management, which I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Once I discovered it, there was sort of no turning back. I think I'm a very naturally curious person, so just ended up pivoting to that role, and I think I'm experiencing job satisfaction right now. So that's kind of my journey. What about you,
Mhm.
Kushal?
Nice. Sometimes, like when we are working in a tech career, there's like a set of people who are like really deep down into tech,
Yeah.
whom you think can excel as principal engineers, principal data scientists. But sometimes you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not that person, kind
Yeah.
of a thing. So for me, I was an engineer, and then when I went to Southeast Asia for a product launch, uh, even as engineers, it was a great perk that you could go visit the region. I mean, my job was to take rides in the worst places of the city in terms of traffic, in terms of timing, talk to passengers, talk to drivers, talk to country teams about how the product is performing, and it felt amazing. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, what sort of a career is this? And then I was working closely with my product managers. Even I did not know what product management was when I was doing my grad school. thought maybe I want to transition into product management. Uh, though as an engineer, it's a very difficult pivot. There's like this glass ceiling where people expect you to come from an MBA background, or people expect you to have a certain skill set, etc. Uh, and it was a tough transition. So what I did was I started working, initially working 20% of my time as a product manager. Then that ramped up to 50% of my time as a PM. That ramped up to a full-time PM, and then joined SoFi again as a product manager. So different flavors of product management across different companies, of course.
That's amazing. So you actually were at one point both a PM and an engineer,
Yeah,
but you were probably being paid just for one.
exactly. Even though it's like when you say 20% of the time, you're basically working 120% of the time.
Exactly.
Uh, but then I think when I was a PM and an engineer, I was a PM for the same product I was an engineer of.
Okay.
Maybe that's not a good idea.
I agree. We should
Yeah.
probably pull on that thread towards the end of the podcast where we talk about how a relationship changes with other peers like engineers when you become a product manager. Yeah, a little bit of gossip towards the end, y'all.
I don't know
Stay
why I
tuned.
hate my engineers now.
Oh, no. Oh my god. I'm not making such statements. I work with an awesome team. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Kushal. So I think we should talk about our podcasting history
Yeah.
and also about why are we doing this? Like why are we doing this podcast? So just to give you all a bit of context, during COVID, Kushal started his own podcast, which is very cool. I also started my own podcast, which is also kind of fun.
But nobody watches. I mean,
I mean, hey, I mean, people listen to my podcast. Okay, it was fun. People listen to your podcast too. You had some really like
Yeah.
famous people.
I
on
have a
there.
strong 194 subscribers.
That's
Yeah.
that's 193 more than mine. My one subscriber is my dad. So yeah, so here we are starting our second podcast together. So we actually went to the same master's program, and we have often spoken about being product managers and actually pivoting to product management. And we felt that we've always had good perspectives about anything tech. So yeah, that's kind of why we started the podcast. And Kushal, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of people doing podcasting on product management these days. There's like experts like Lenny, Nikhil, there's of course Shreyas Doshi. That said, there's also a set of people who are mid senior in their careers. They want to give tips about, okay, how do you excel in product management, etc. uh, More suited towards people who want to transition, people who want to get their jobs in product management. I think how we are seeing this is different is that we are neither.
Yeah.
We are not experts. We are not people who want to coach other people be product managers. What we want to do is we want to the share more about our day-to-day lives, share more about our observations about what happens in the tech world.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I think we have very interesting lived experiences just having been in multiple companies and having pivoted from being not any management degree people to
Yeah.
product management. So we have a unique perspective. I think we'll hit upon so many different topics in the coming episodes. The good, the bad, the ugly parts of product management, and our thoughts on where tech is going in the next decade.
Mhm.
So it's going to be really fun.
And speaking on that, so when we both of us transitioned into product managers, we had to learn new things and we had to unlearn a few things.
Yep.
So, what are some of the things that you had to learn and unlearn?
Wow, he's really asking the questions today. Cool. Maybe talking about learning. My view of what product management was completely changed. I only saw PMs organizing meetings and maybe giving us action items and things like that, and just putting a lot of meetings together. But I realized that that's probably 10% of their job or even less. Very humbled to understand that product managers do a lot more things. They take care of alignment, they do visions, roadmaps. Basically, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but we kind of put together the list of things that an entire team has to work on for the next year or so, which is a very daunting thing to do. You have to be a pioneer in your area. You have to know what's happening in your industry. It's really cool. I think it also made me just like a better person. So that's one thing. A lot of things, I guess, I said that I learned. I'm going to move it over to you. What did you learn?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I learned was to uh, wear the hat of why something needs to be done. As an engineer, you're just focused on how to do a certain thing. You have a very specific task. Sometimes, even if the task is ambiguous, you pretty much know what needs to be done. As a product manager, I had to learn why do we need to do something. I mean, how do we? Because everybody is like banking upon you to do that research, to come up with numbers and estimates, and then to uh, guide the team through. So I think that was the first thing that I had to learn, and it was really tough because it's not intuitive on thinking about how, and as an engineer you just want to build things, you don't care about metrics, etc. So I think, yeah, that was something that I had to learn. And then if I had to unlearn something, again, the maybe something similar. I mean, I had to unlearn uh, the aspect of doing things for the sake of doing, but just maybe taking a pause and then figure out why we need to do something. I had to learn a lot of people skills as well. I mean, you deal with people all the times, and yeah, it's. I thought I like being around people, but sometimes I just want my me time.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes I just block like 20 minutes in the day to just not think and just
Yeah,
be, because you're just context switching between meetings all the time.
yeah,
It can take a toll on you. I guess one thing that I had to unlearn was, well, so many things to unlearn. Maybe the top one that I had to pick is stop trying to solve a problem immediately. Probably just wait and understand the scope. Uh, Definitely what you said, why you're solving it. As an engineer, you just want to go in and make that commit and just merge it to the dev branch. It just feels great. But you really have to. And also, most of the times, like, people build things because they get really excited if something's easy to build.
yeah.
And the trade-off between engineering excellence and customers needs is something that I felt like I grew up a lot in 1 year,
Yeah,
like during my first year of PMing.
that's very true, because as an engineer, I mean, you just want to refactor the code.
Yeah,
You don't care about shipping things. As a product manager, you have to like, oh, I mean, I need to ship something, and then you iterate. So even learning that was tough. Uh, Also, I mean, it's said that product managers influence without authority. Uh, Influencing people is super hard, and it never stops. I mean, anytime a stakeholder can, you felt that you made a good relation with them, they you might do something, it might piss them off, and then the relationship is sour.
Yep.
It's a constant curve to, I mean, to keep on influencing people, keep on maintaining those relationships.
This is also, I think, something which is a gap in the skill set when we come as developers or data scientists or whatever it is from a technical background. I see a lot of my peers who are here from consulting background. They are amazing at stakeholder management and relationship management, but they kind of fall short on the technical details. So I think we all come with our strengths. But I have this feeling that eventually, after 5 years of PMing, we all reach the same stage. We all know how to manage our stakeholders. We all know the amount of technical depth that you need to know. Maybe this is for another episode, but I would love to talk about what are some of the specific things that you would want to be known for as a product manager. Yeah, it's a long discussion that we can have. But if I had to ask you just off the top of your head, what are some things you would love to be known for as a product manager?
I think I like to be s- someone who's like really scrappy but getting things done kind of a person.
Yeah.
I don't like to be. I think that's not just my personality to be like a really perfect person who can build awesome products for me. I think just figuring out things and solving hard problems using
Yeah.
tech is something that is I just want to be known as that person.
Someone who gets things done.
Yeah, and then solving real problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally. And that's
yeah,
the dream, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's the dream.
Yeah. What
Sure.
about you?
I want to copy your answer, but okay, I want to say something else. I think I want to be the person who drives clarity in any setting. Like, at bottom line is that I should be clear about what we need to do next or what we're doing right now, but also my team of like my pod of engineers, designers, whatever. They should all know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. I think that makes a lot of sense to them to push through and actually get things done even when there are adversities like deadlines upcoming or changes in
Mm-hmm.
direction, all of that, I've realized that you can really motivate your team if they know why things are happening.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal every product manager strives
Yeah,
for. Just having that buffer between
yeah,
that ambiguity and then making sure that the team has that direction to move forward. Uh, yeah, I mean, it requires a Zen mindset as well,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course. So, yeah.
I think we all strive to be leaders
Mhm.
at the end of the day, but everyone's leadership philosophy is also very different. Again, a great topic for another episode. But yeah, I think that's also one of the things I strive to be. Like if there's ownership, like extreme ownership. I don't know if you've read this book. It's called Extreme
Oh,
Ownership.
I haven't.
It's it's like, oh no, I haven't. Okay, maybe I don't know, readers, or sorry, not readers, listeners, if you've read this book. It's by this Marine, ex-Marine,
Okay.
how they train their teams
Okay.
to be very efficient teams, and how he does that is through extreme ownership
Yeah.
of like everything. So it's a great book. I was reading it, and I mean, I didn't expect to get inspired by a book after just 2 pages of reading it. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. I think that owner mindset is so important to develop as a product manager. You have to love your product, you have to drive it. It's not,
Yeah.
if you're not as passionate about what you're doing, then you'll not be as successful.
Yeah. It's a great segue to the next question that I wanted to ask you. We use a lot of products every day. What are some of the products that you really absolutely love? I know that from a user's perspective, you might give an answer, but I want to know your PM perspective. Why do you think a specific product is great?
I think there's two products that I use every day more or less, which is I use Spotify every day. I walk to work, or maybe I just love walking. I'll put on a podcast. I listen to podcasts every day. So and another app that I use every day is Headspace. So I meditate every day as well. uh, I think I'll say one thing that I love about, for example, Headspace would be um, it, my relationship with meditation was a bit on and off kind of a thing. With Headspace, it there were a few easy courses that I took there that got me into meditation. That the run streak, they have this streak component where, like, the run streak is computed every day. So that made me a bit addicted to the this thing app. And now I'm at that stage where if I don't meditate, I get headache. So
Yeah.
it got me addicted to something nice.
Mm.
So I think in terms of the tech component or the product component, um I think nothing fancy, but it was developed by someone who was a monk for like 10 years. And then when he came back to the real world,
Yeah.
he thought of, using his learnings to solve uh, anxiety, stress in the world. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that working backwards from a
Problem
customer.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great thought.
Yeah. What about you? What is a product that you
Man,
love?
you just said Spotify. I was going to say that. So I'm still going to roll with
I
it.
did not say, elaborate more about Spotify.
Okay,
So
I'm
yeah.
going to talk about Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't really have to talk about why Spotify is great. I think everyone knows why it's great. But if I just think about it from a PM perspective, right? I've been learning a lot about these two kinds of models. One is product led growth, and the other one is sales led growth. To give the listeners a brief context about what that means, if a product has iteratively more features that come out of it, basically are launched on it, and you don't have to toot your horn about launching these features, and it gets adopted by users, and it grows because, and the user base grows, or the usage of the product grows because of it. That's just product led growth. Whereas if you need to actually go and sell this product, saying, hey, this is actually out, you guys, please go use it, that's sales led growth. That happens, in a lot of like enterprise SaaS companies. Like, I don't know, like an Azure might go and sell their cognitive services to Macy's or something, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like with Spotify, every little feature is so discussed, so debated about. I'm in awe of the way that they've built their company. They started off with just solving problems for giving people music to listen to, even when Apple Music and
Yeah.
YouTube existed. But now they've branched out to so much more, and there is such great product market fit. I these days book concert tickets using Spotify. I get all of my pop culture related like charts, news on
Mhm.
Spotify. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts on Spotify. It's just um, I'm just in awe of the way that they've built their company and the problems that they're solving. So
I did not know that you can book tickets on Spotify.
yeah, you can.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's such a, now it's become such a community related, growth model, that artists can now have Spotify fans
Oh,
who
wow.
they can release their music to earlier and stuff like that. So it's become an industry standard at this point.
Wow.
So it's sort of like a, dream for me in the
Mhm.
future. I would love to be a part of building such kind of a product or launching such kind of a product, which just defines the space. I mean, not to say that Spotify will remain this way forever, but it made that mark at one point in history,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool.
Nice. Have you seen the documentary on Netflix, the docu-series about Spotify?
I have not.
It's amazing. It's in Swedish, but it's one of my
You
favorite.
know Swedish?
No, I mean you can watch the subtitles and all, but it's
Okay.
like amazing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely watch
I
that.
think some of these tech documentaries, movies are like amazing. I
Yeah.
loved Social Network.
Yeah.
It was my favorite movie back in the time.
Before joining Uber, I watched Super Pumped. I was kind of
Nice.
really scared, but it's been a great experience so far.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, unpopular opinion, but Travis is one of my favorite leaders.
hmm.
I mean, there are a few bad sides about him for sure, but there's a few. I watched his lecture when he came to IIT Bombay, and then he had, I mean, shared his experiences about Uber, etc. I'll not say that he co-founded Uber, but yeah, I think he's a good thought leader at least.
I think he was what was needed for the company back
Yeah.
then, for that kind of disruptive growth, and that's what made Uber stick. And even though there are 10 other rideshare companies right now, it's still Uber that's dominating the market,
Yeah.
which is a testament to his leadership.
And that's it. Dara is the leader for the times of the day. He's an
Yep.
amazing leader as well.
Yep.
So yeah,
Very inspired by the current CEO for sure.
yeah, nice.
Awesome. I feel like we've spoken a lot. I don't know who's still listening. So I think we can wrap it up for today's episode.
And we should take this offline.
We should take this offline. See you all next week.
Thanks everyone for chiming in. Do like, share, subscribe to the podcast, and see you for episode 2.